Hello, and welcome to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
The Sad Dads Club podcast. This is episode 136.
I'm the Lord Foo.
I'm Jim.
The Bean Lord, Lord of all beans.
And tonight's show is brought to you by Dead Subaru batteries.
And by the word jumper, which only was awkward in reference to your daughter a couple times.
Yeah.
You need to get jumped? We're coming to jump you.
Yeah.
Are you with a dude? He can't jump you.
I'm not jumping that dude. That's
I'm not
for sure.
jumping the dude.
But
I'll come to jump you, though.
Yeah.
We're on our way.
Oh, yeah. So we were getting ready for the show. And then out of nowhere, I get a phone call, which I thought was weird from my daughter.
Right.
And it's like, what's happening? And it's like, hey, I'm at the Walmart and my car won't start. What sound does it make? Does it make a clicking sound or does it make a rrr sound? I don't know. Did you try starting it?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I was just going to level set for my kids when you get to this episode. And if you don't, I'm going to probably end up telling you anyway. There's no judgment in your quality of impression, but if I ask you for what it sounds like, there's no judge. No judge. I need to know.
There's a required attempt.
Yeah.
At least.
Because, you know.
It matters.
There are reference points that we could get. It's like, oh, well, if it like just straight clicks.
Yeah.
Then there's usually like a question about lights, dash lights, what happened, this.
Yeah.
If you have enough that you get the well, then, okay. We go battery.
Yeah, it's probably just a battery.
I mean, it's going to be probably battery either way.
Yeah.
But
more than likely.
But like, you know,
yeah.
when the dad says or the mom says or the person helping you says, does it make a sound? And you say, yeah. And I say, what is it? And you say, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's, hey.
All right.
It's okay, sweetheart.
Because the problem is as a dad, because this is what we're all about. As a dad, the concern is, there's another problem, right? Like blaming that kind of problem on the battery is just
right.
That's easy to do,
right? Or if the sound it was like like it sounded like there was enough juice.
Yeah.
Then that would be probably not the battery at all. Then we've got something wrong with the ignition.
If there's a fast crank, then the timing belt broke.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole slew of things you can get just off.
It's like, well, if I was coming to just jumper, we might be fucked.
Yeah.
Right. Then we're talking AAA because, but the or click 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 leads me to believe battery.
Yeah.
If it sounds like it is just cranking with the gangbusters, but nothing is happening, that's tow truck.
Well, I mean, from experience, my old Civic that I used to have that got totaled that we talked about. Rest in peace, little Civ.
Bless your soul.
So at one point I was at work, and this is when I was commuting with Dawn, and we get in the car to leave the office and turn the key, and you get nothing. Nothing. Starter.
Yeah.
Starter's not engaging, right? And what's weird about starters is it might not engage once. Like when it's starting to go out, it's like intermittent. So it's like one time you might just get, oh, that's weird, it didn't crank. And then you turn it off, turn it back on, and then it goes. So the starter's like, okay, sure, now at this point I'm going.
Yeah. You caught me on a good rotation.
Yeah, and then at some point in the future, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until you got to, because now you're going to get stranded.
Right.
So even a jump's not going to help that.
It did highlight, I mean, obviously I had a pair of spares, jumper cables.
Yeah.
It did highlight, like I think I made a joke when we got the Iron 4-wheel bags. Like, I keep a go bag. Every car here has one. I think for somebody's birthday, I'm getting go bags.
Well, I'm thinking
Because you as the dad have the only set of jumper cables.
yeah, we haven't really needed them much, but it's like also didn't have 2 kids with cars,
Right.
So I mean, now that that's kind of a thing, it's like Millie kind of needs a few things in the trunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For that kind of
Yeah. I
situation.
mean, you don't need a fucking whole toolkit, but jumper cables, flares,
that could have been
water.
solved. Well, that could have been solved by one of 2 ways. One way is if she had cables in her car and she knew what was going on.
Right.
Hey, my car won't start. Do you mind jumping me? And somebody would come give her a jump start.
Right.
Right? I have cables already. Can you just pull in and I can get a jump off of you? That's probably something I need to go over with her because I probably have at some point. I don't know. But it's like for her, a lot of that stuff goes in one ear and kind of out the other, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I went through with her like, here's how to check the oil. Here's how to do this. I had her before they drove home, like, let's check the coolant. Make sure you have coolant in your car. Let's, you know what I mean? Chandler was with her, so he helped, but I made sure of it. The other way that she could have solved that problem is if she had her AAA card
Oh, right.
in her wallet.
Turns
out it was at home. So that doesn't help you at all when you're running around town and suddenly your car...
you don't have the safety net with you that you should have that you're paying for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing here is that she called. We were getting ready for a show. It's like, okay, I'm going to go help. That was probably way faster for me to come help than waiting the hour or an hour and a half for AAA to come help you.
Yeah.
Although that's not always going to be a possibility.
Right.
I mean, imagine if this happened during the day and I was working at my office.
Can Shan jump?
Probably not.
Which Shan probably just would call AAA.
Probably.
Or Shan would go to Melly and someone would call me. I would go jump.
Someone would call you.
I would go jump your...
They're both like, just call Jason.
Yeah. He's the one that helps Mom out of the attic when the ladder doesn't. Can Jay just drive over?
Yeah, so that was funny. My wife was... just because I don't think we ever talked about this on the show.
Yeah.
My wife was up in the attic. We have a ladder in the garage that folds down and you can store stuff above the garage.
It's a collapsible one.
Yeah,
so
collapsible.
Like cascades out.
Yeah. And so sometimes when you get off the ladder, when you're at the top, it'll spring up and the legs are no longer down to a point to where you could probably climb down them with any kind of...
Oh, that's right. It
sort of folds. It has it has 2 folds in it, and the bottom it'll like pop up, and the bottom will go straight, so then you can't see it.
Yeah.
And so my wife's not going to climb down that shit. So now she's stuck up there because she's looking down the ladder and can't see half of it. And then I'm like an hour away. I'm in Grass Valley, and then I'm like. Hey, Jason, like in a chat, my wife is in the garage, stuck up in the attic.
I put her there. I know.
Do you think you can take 10 minutes just to
Yeah.
go straighten the ladder out so she can get down? And he was like, I'm on it.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. But yeah, sometimes shit like that happens, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, the answer is the same every time.
Yeah,
Call Jason.
Yeah, you know. It's an interesting thing, you know, because Piper's learning to drive too, right? She's just short of attempting her license test. You know, I don't expect the kids to be mechanics either.
Yeah.
Obviously, Data is a different type of driver.
Well, he's an enthusiast.
Right.
Right.
But if he doesn't have a go kit with all those things,
he doesn't.
That's weird that he wouldn't, because he does so much shit to his car. I would think he'd be more prone to needing like a quickie go kit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bust his balls.
I mean, sure.
10 ways a Sunday.
I mean, I'm the only one that has jumper cables in the car.
But like you were saying, to be able to describe a common thing if you need help. Or certainly be familiar with or having your whatever your insurance or roadside assistance thing is.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to ask for help and describe what you're hearing.
Well, at a minimum, I mean, part of it is part of the responsibility of driving a car is not to just ignore the fact that the things under the hood are complicated and scary.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Your car behaves in a specific way every time you get in and drive it.
Mm-hmm.
So the one time you get in and try and drive it and it does something totally different, that's when you pay attention to what the thing is, what thing that is.
Right.
So when you tried to drive it, what happened? It's not starting? I assume it made some different sound than what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
What sound did it make? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
what's funny about that general experience was like that translates to computers and IT support, and right, the amount of, in my 20s working at the PC repair store, the like the same kind of question gets asked. Like a person brings in their computer and it's like, okay, so what's going on? Like, what's it doing? And the person would be like, it doesn't, I press the button and it doesn't turn on. Well, can you describe to me anything else?
Do you hear any fans?
I don't know how it works. That's it.
Yeah, it's complicated.
And you're like, fucking fantastic.
The first thing that happens to a computer is electricity.
Amazing.
So your power supply is dead, or some other shit's
right,
happening.
and the person just looks at you with like glazed eyes.
Wait,
like
a power supply?
What is it to fix it? It's like, well, sir, it's
I have to diagnose that.
X amount an hour, and wow. Okay, so can you tell me anything else that you recall from what was going on before?
They just took their homemade Mercedes to the shop and found out what the shop rates were, and now they're like, oh shit.
Okay, so I may have been at a site, and there was a pop-up, and it told me that my antivirus was out of date and to click to get, and so I did that.
Right.
And I was not looking at dwarf porn at the time, per se. And then I got scared and shut it off. And I haven't turned it back on.
So that brings to mind this is one of those guilty pleasure YouTube moments.
Dwarf porn?
Yes.
All right.
No. Is the dudes who troll the
my God, I love those.
There's like two guys in particular that I end up watching all the time. How they just rail on these guys and get so much personal information about them that they know their address. They get pictures of their licenses that are on their computers.
Kit.
I don't know.
One of them, the guy that wears, generally all of them are wearing the fucking aviators or whatever.
Oh, the one dude that he's got like a British accent, but you never see him on camera.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that one.
He gets into their pay system and sees like all the transactions of all the people that have been like railed on, and then he ends up, I don't even know how he ends up calling these people like, yeah, you got scammed, yeah, you got. And then like gets them to like, or tries to get them to, what about, Betty White or whatever? You scammed her for $3,500. Are you going to give her money back? By the way, all of your information has now been sent to the authorities and they're coming for you. And it's just the way that he goes about it is brilliant. Yeah. And he like has his little sandbox PC. He lets them in. And then he starts working from his side to get back, and fucking love to see that shit.
The stuff that some of these guys will do, and I'm talking about the scammers themselves.
Oh yeah.
Like it's so cringy. Like some random 1980s sound effect of a police siren, like ma'am, the authorities are here and you have stolen my money. Ma'am, can you hear that? Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am. And then like off mic and you hear like, I am sorry, sir. I am talking with her right now. She is trying to get me the money back. And you're just like, people buy this?
Oh, yeah. I do not want to lose my job.
And well, I tell you what, how to solve this, ma'am. You need to go to Walmart and buy $600 in gift cards.
So ridiculous.
You would have fucking. Are you? Who's doing that?
Well, what's weird is how they use TeamViewer or whatever to like gain access to their PC, and then they'll like blank out the page so the people can't see what's happening on their own system.
Yeah,
and then they'll like go and edit the page that they're on.
They'll
pull up the
bank and do the CSS.
Yeah, and then they'll like load it back up and like be all, look, it says you took in $20,000 from us, and we need to. I'm gonna get fired.
I need $600 back. You're like,
oh my gosh.
Who is? Oh my God.
Yeah, and then there's
I fear for society.
There's one guy that like changes. He has a voice changer. He sounds like an older lady all the time, and he's just like working on him. It's hilarious, dude. It's just so funny. I love just the justice of it.
It's almost worth it to watch those at least one or two
to get an understanding of what's happening.
Right,
yeah.
Because obviously part of the shtick and the gag of the reverse hacking is the entertainment value in scamming the scammer.
Yeah.
But there is some value because they'll also, at least the ones that I've watched, they'll explain what's going on and part of the gotchas in how it works.
Right.
There's value there, and like, because I've explained it to my dad on an occasion. It's like, okay, just don't answer the fucking phone call, and in the moment you see a screen like this, walk away.
Yeah.
Bring me the laptop and I'll handle it.
Call the number.
Yeah. He's like, fuck. Stop.
They wanted $3,000 of Walmart gift cards. Does that sound legit to you?
Is that gonna fix it? Is that gonna? What the no. And we will wait here while you go to Target and gift the gift cards. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Do not believe.
Yeah, or Amazon gift cards.
Yeah.
The one dude I was just talking about, he was like, he pretends to be this woman, and he actually has Amazon gift cards, and so he starts redeeming them into his own Amazon account.
Oh yeah,
and they are freaking out, like, "Ma'am, don't do that."
Okay, so I cashed the Best Buy cards, and now do you want me to buy you a laptop? Am I buying you a laptop with this? No, ma'am. Oh, well, I've already done it. So what do you want me to do with the laptops? They're brand new. They're coming tomorrow. Where do I send them? No, ma'am. No. Oh my God, I'm rolling at this shit.
That shit's funny. I just love how they approach that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I want to know, what I want to know is the stuff that they're doing to like get into their systems. I want to learn that shit.
Backside
hacker. Yeah.
There's some legit stuff. In the same vein of it's entertainment, but yet there's value there. Every once in a while I get in my YouTube algorithms like the car crash compilation fails or poor driver compilations.
Yep.
And every once in a while I'll binge a series of those.
Yeah.
And I just told Venus, because obviously it's topical in this house because Piper's learning to drive and whatnot. It was, I almost started to watch them from the perspective of, there's value here. Like, generally, the train wrecks happen in places as a driver you should be paying extra attention to, because this is where shit goes sideways.
Right.
This is why you're always being vigilant as a driver. Your head on a swivel, paying attention. You shouldn't always just be vibing out to the tunes, and you certainly shouldn't be texting or making phone calls without hands-free stuff, because on the freeway, when you're getting that like road harmonic and you're kind of zoning out, the guy in front of you is doing the same thing, and if you're not watching the oncoming traffic, a car is coming at you and you're not paying attention to some dumbass stunting on a motorcycle behind you. # never Mike. Mike is always a safe motorcycle driver. That's where, and like intersections, when you like, I have a green light, man,
punch it.
I am always like, I don't know if I want to be the first fucker across this intersection. I'll double check anyway. Like, I'm walking across the street.
Yeah.
Like there's a sadistic amount of entertainment in watching the crashes and like stupid people getting road rage. But by and large, where the things go sideways, there are lessons in this is why and where you need to pay attention. That, continue to look both ways and not necessarily be like green light means
it's go time.
I can go.
Yeah.
It's like there are idiots, too many.
Oh yeah.
Pay extra attention.
We see that a lot in this area.
Yeah. Do not make the phone call from needing the antivirus. Don't do it.
Well, I mean, like on our
And
on our evening walks when we take the dog out, we walk by a major intersection, right?
yeah.
Pleasant Grove and Washington.
Yeah.
It's a very heavily trafficked intersection. I see just about daily, and this is just in the snippet of time as we walk by, someone run a red light.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
So like when that light turns green, I'm usually like left and right, looking, and then I'm happy when the car next to me goes first. It's like, well, at least I'm not going to take the brunt of a broadside
Right.
from that side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to take it, and then I'll probably get hit too, but it won't be that bad.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
There's all kinds of those little things that I'm almost paying extra attention to
Yeah.
that I'm like, I need to impart that now.
Mhm.
Like, driving imparts, like spending time behind the wheel, which we've kind of talked in the past with Melly driving down south and whatnot.
right.
There's no real substitute for time behind the wheel. I could tell you all of the things that make me comfortable as a driver, and Venus Mom could tell. I could, and you could read it, and you could pass the test, and you could do take your driver's training. But the bottom line is the thing that will make you the most aware and the better driver is time behind the wheel.
It's like anything else. You can go to school and learn how to be a dentist, but if you don't ever sit your ass in a dentist office and start drilling on people's faces, you're never going to become a good dentist.
Yeah, book smart isn't going to get you practical smart.
Yeah, it's all experience. So
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, do I want the guy right out of school getting ready to drill on his first teeth? No, hell no. I want the guy that's been here for
Right.
20 years, been
Yeah.
working on teeth,
It's like not all yellow lights are timed the same. The green lights are
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Some intersections like Washington and Pleasant Grove are more prone to idiots. And the same intersection has that bullshit undulation
Yeah.
where people get
High off of it, they start flying
they
over.
get cattywampus, and
Yeah.
if people aren't paying attention for that, some intersections, is this a 3-turn left?
Well,
You don't pick those up unless you're on the road in those places.
I mean, what I see the most of is Pleasant Grove is in general, and I know this is probably boring for people who don't live here, but Pleasant Grove is a speedway. It literally is a speed. It's a 6-lane road. It's 3 lanes on either side. The speed limit is 45, but seldom do you see someone driving 45.
Yeah.
Normally people are going 50, and I'm not kidding when I say daily, my house backs up to Pleasant Grove. It is a daily, multiple times a day occurrence where you can hear a car whiz past the house
Mhm.
doing well over 60, maybe even 70,
Yeah.
maybe faster. A motorcycle, a car, something souped. It's insane. People just, and when it comes to the red lights, it's like, I mean, I kind of did it tonight a little bit. Oh, it's yellow. I'm going. I just don't want to stop. You know what I mean?
But you knew the length of time of that yellow and
Yeah.
where you were at, and I would wager, because I was a passenger, that you also probably had a relative understanding of the distance of the thing behind you. There's a driver calculation there. It's like,
yeah.
I can punch this and make it through probably before it turns red, and that's what this is designed for. Or I could be over safe, try and hit my brakes. The caddy, I guarantee you, would have stopped in time.
Oh, yeah.
But the dude behind you probably would have been like, I can make this yellow.
Oh, yeah. Why is he stopping?
Yeah, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah.
And then you're eating shit
Right.
at that intersection.
Now you're taking it in
Right.
the tailpipe. Literally.
And I'm sure, yeah. both. And it's not specific to Pleasant Grove, right? I am sure if you're listening, your area probably has one of those roads that's like the main thoroughfare through your city or your county or whatever that everyone treats as like the freeway that's really a street, and you don't know, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We have an odd familiarity with the roads and everything in this place because we played Ingress, right? Our wheel time, specifically local, is
vast.
As an outlier in the spectrum of like driving. So there's some nuance that we could speak to that probably most people can't.
Yeah.
So we know where the train wrecks are.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convey that.
Yeah.
Outside, drive safe and you pay attention.
Well, part of the time behind the wheel playing Ingress just opens your eyes up to the areas of town that are problematic. Now, typically we weren't playing during like travel time.
Yeah, commute hours.
Yeah, we were playing in the evening when it was like much
low traffic,
much lower traffic.
Yeah.
But you still get a sense of like, oh, this area I have to do X, Y, and Z because this seems to be a problem with whatever it is.
Right.
And you get that taste of it. That's just experience.
Yep.
It all boils down to experience. I mean, I wish I couldn't count on my both hands and feet how many times I've driven to Orange County and back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this goes all the way back to high school. I mean, I drove down there by myself as a high school student, to go visit family or whatever by myself. I think actually I got my driver's license on my birthday. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day we drove to Orange County.
Oh yeah.
I drove to Orange County the next day.
You're putting time in. Yeah.
I mean,
I think, and Venus and I were doing, I don't think I could say it was the next day, but within my probably late 16, early 17, we were making trips to Lancaster, Palmdale in the Fiero.
Yeah. That's a tough ride.
Yeah.
In the Fiero.
Yeah. Fucking thing. It's like go-kart, man. This was awesome.
It's got such a short wheelbase.
Yeah.
It's like a little smart car, except it's a Pontiac.
Speaking of that, though, and I can only imagine like the situational awareness as EVs and hybrids start to overtake internal combustion engines. One of the key things that because even in hot weather, I tend to drive with my windows down because I just enjoy
the wind in your face,
and like the sounds of whatnot. I was driving door to door with a Model 3 the other day, and it was eerie to not hear much.
Yeah.
Obviously, my car is bouncing off of it, and there's tire hum.
Yeah.
But to like pull up and not hear.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, can you imagine when the bulk of the road traffic, you no longer have that thing, like something coming at you.
That would be awesome.
A fucking silent missile in a T-bone type of scenario intersection.
Oh God.
It's not like here we're semi-country where you've got the jacked up lifted 4x4s and they've got that aggressive tread that you can hear from fucking 2 miles down the road. It's like, this guy's gonna run it.
Yeah.
When you've got a
silent
Leaf
car
or a Tesla or some a Prius that's just like and you're not attuned for that electric motor whir, shit's gonna get sideways.
Yeah,
it'll be weird. It's an adjustment. There's a lot of adjustment coming.
Well, I actually said to Shanna, it'd be nice to have the electric takeover happen way quicker because we would get a lot less engine noise.
Right.
We'll still have wind. You'll still have wind and tire noise, but we would have a lot less brr, brr, I
Yeah.
guess you're still going to have those cars. People are going to hang on to that shit for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it'll be a lot less. You know what I mean? And I don't know that I'll be alive long enough to see that.
Like your grandkids will probably be like, Grandpa, can we drive the internal combustion one?
Yeah, can we go out in the garage and fire that thing up?
And it uses gasoline?
Yeah, where do you even get that?
Like, can I sniff the exhaust pipe? No. Actually, yes, but don't tell your mom. Yeah.
Taste it.
Taste it.
What you're tasting is a dinosaur's ass.
Yeah.
Mm.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway,
Tasting a dinosaur's ass.
learn some shit about your car. Damn it.
Yeah, little lessons, right? Like
Yeah.
I think we've said multiple times, like that. I don't expect you to be a mechanic.
Yeah.
But there are little things that will help along the way. Keep yourself a travel go bag with basic tools.
I'll tell you what. What I would be happy with is if I showed her some stuff and was able for her ability to be able to like tell me this at some point later in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was checking the oil, or hey, just have some interest in it. Like, hey, how do I check the oil? I want to make sure I know how to check the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you spent a lot of money on this car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to maintain it. You have to know how it works. It's not rocket science. It is just an engine with a bunch of accessories on it. It just looks like spaghetti under the hood, and it looks complicated unless you know what all the shit does. But there are some basics that are kind of important to know.
Yeah, we ran into something, I suppose from this, I can tie mine up on this. It was, Venus had come to me sometime last week, and she said, Piper came to me and she asked me what a V8 was.
Okay.
Wow. And I went, really?
Why is she asking you?
Oh, I don't.
No, why?
I don't know. I didn't ask that part. I'm like, okay.
I'm right here.
Apparently, my answer would have oppressed somebody, or, I would have thrown a shit fit about her not knowing. So I'm like, oh,
I would have welcomed the question.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So she, apparently explained it. And I think I had gone about, it was a weekend, so I was going about the day I was outside, and I came in, and I said, I kind of gave her like a blind question that I didn't specifically say V8. I'm like, you know how many cylinders are in an inline four? And, we kind of went through some stuff. And I said, generally, when the whole question had stemmed from when she asked Venus was apparently the boys that the young men that Piper was hanging out with were talking about cars, and they kept throwing around
the
V8 thing, and she didn't know, and that's fine.
Yeah.
She didn't know, but she was interested in what they were fucking talking about, so she ended up asking Venus. So I kind of gave Piper like a non-judgmental primer on like some of engine configurations, but the one that I kind of made a funny haha to help to get her to stick with, I said, so there are V's, and generally that has to do with the orientation of the cylinders, and generally when you're talking about the number, that's relative to how many cylinders are in that configuration. So you have your V's and your inline, which is, they're inline, and then whatever the number is how many they have. I said, but there are really two manufacturers that do something specific to their brands. I said, Porsche and Subaru have what they call boxers, and that is the pistons are oriented horizontally than other engines.
Yeah. I
said, and she's like, I won't ever remember this. And I said, I'll help you remember this, and I'll give you a tool. I said, Grimlock, Subaru had a Boxer 4. Boxer 4.
The pistons punch
right.
out. Yeah.
I said, you remember Grimlock, Subaru, Boxer 4.
Yeah.
I said, the other company that's notorious for Boxer engines is Porsche. And I said, your boyfriend's dad has a Porsche that has a Boxer 6. He has a 76 911 Targa.
Wow.
I'm like, so here's how you're going to remember this.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend's dad has a Porsche Boxer. Your dad had a Subaru Boxer 4.
Right.
And she's like, okay, so the last couple of days I'll like every random, like, what two manufacturers are notorious for a Boxer engine? Subaru and Porsche. Fucking nailed it.
Got it.
I'll see you in 2 days or I'm going to ask the same question.
Now, how about that Wankel?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't cover the rotaries. Anyway.
Well, how about the W16?
But, it's like I don't expect anything. But I was like, I'm going to help you. I'll give you a funny high, and we'll make it funny.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll keep ribbing her.
Yeah, that stuff's interesting. Yeah, it's fascinating to me. Like, I seem to learn new stuff about cars all the time.
Yeah.
We were just talking about on the way from the rescue tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do brakes on the Cadillac, and it has a Brembo. They're smaller Brembos. Like your car has full size Brembos.
Mm-hmm.
They're big.
Yeah, big in the front.
Yeah, mine are a little bit smaller. They're a Cadillac size. They actually say Cadillac on them, Brembo. So they're made. They're made specifically for Cadillac, I assume.
Okay.
But the way that you do the brakes in those is different from any other car that I've ever worked on, which is mostly Hondas, except one Audi that I helped Chandler with a little bit. Where the caliper that sits over the disc, you like undo one of the bolts, and then the caliper will swing up, and then you can replace all your hardware, push the cylinder back in. In the Cadillac, it has pins that hold like a spring-loaded clip in. The two pins you drive out, once the spring-loaded clip comes out, then out of the front of the caliper, the pads just slide out.
Like a cartridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they just, like, both sides just slide out independently. And that's different from any brake I've ever done where you literally unbolt one part of the caliper and it twists up, or maybe you do both if you really wanted to. But I would just do one. Swing it up, pull out the shit, put the new stuff back in, and slip it back down. This is totally different. So it's sort of like, man, I'm learning new stuff about cars all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a never-ending thing. I read articles and go, oh, shit, I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
it's one of those,
yeah.
You don't have to look at it like, oh, I should understand how to replace my brakes. But if you're someone that also learned a lesson of like how to change a tire, it's like there is stuff to be learned at just by like, okay, so here are my brakes. I can see probably your pad length. If you ever experience like squeaking, it's like, well, I would know where to look if I was concerned about a noise coming from somewhere. It's like, it hurts no one to kind of give things like a good eyeball to be like, oh, is that how that kind of probably works?
Yeah.
I wonder if, because, going back to like the prank calls or the, what was the other thing we're doing? Oh, the car wrecks.
Oh, yeah.
Compilations.
Yeah.
There's something, you don't want to be duped either by someone trying to take advantage of you just because you didn't take a small opportunity to at least get a vague general understanding of how the thing works that you're probably paying tens of thousands of dollars for.
Yeah.
And if not, maybe hundreds of dollars monthly for insurance. It's like,
Right.
you don't want to be the rube.
Yeah.
And you just look at it.
Well, that, like, taking your car to a shop as a woman is not always the best avenue because they get taken advantage of. Like, not every shop does that, but it happens. I feel bad because sometimes you hear the stories about, oh, I took my car to this shop and they charged me blah blah for this, and you're like, they charge you how much for what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's fucked up, you know? So arming yourself with a little bit of knowledge, or even asking somebody else that has a little bit of knowledge, can end up saving your bacon a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I like to learn and DIY my own stuff.
Yeah.
Because I like to learn.
Yeah.
And if it's not like super complicated, then I'm gonna give it a whack.
So we could change gears because of DIY, right?
Yeah.
The beans.
Oh yeah.
So same vein.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what I was watching. So we're going to cooking now. I can't remember what I was watching.
Yeah.
It was somebody. I think they were making a tostada. And it was late at night. I had not had a gummy, I assure you. So I was just generally watching the wrong thing at the wrong time. But I was hungry and I was watching this, and whoever was the cook they had their own refried beans to put on the tostada. And they just skimmed through a real fast, like, we make these in-house on our own. It's very simple. Blah, blah, blah. And however this guy delivered it, I was like, oh, I don't think I'd really thought about
how they're made.
Yeah. But he kind of conveyed that it was simple. And I'm like, man, I really want a tostada.
Yeah.
So I think that weekend, which was last weekend, I bought all the fixins to make tostadas, like, fry my own shell and whatnot. But I hadn't looked up a recipe to make refried beans, so I just bought a can.
Yeah.
And put them in that way. But I did buy all the fixins for what I thought I would need for making refried beans. I know I need beans and some other shit. I was missing a couple because it took me time to find a recipe that I figured was more authentic than, and we made a joke. It's like, I'm looking for someone who's of Latin origin for a true recipe. Because here's the thing, like you make, I'm sure you've made something, or there's like a Schroeder family recipe that has like an authenticity that has your personal touch on it. Like I have like my chili, or the things that I smoke have like their own twist.
Right.
So I don't necessarily want like a tasty recipe or an epicurious, like or a Bobby Flay or a whatever. I want someone that's probably going to give me a family recipe.
Yeah.
That will be like something special.
Yeah.
I'll follow that. So it took me a while to find one, but when I did, I was like, oh, here it is. I found what I was missing. And then I think we had made a joke like, I've got some stuff. Like, I asked you because you're the taco guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you have a recipe? And you're like, all I know is that it has to have lard in it. And I went, right, okay, that part I know.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the recipe that I was going to follow, the lady was like, you can buy lard, and it's key. Obviously, you have to have it for Metasaurus refried beans.
Right.
You need lard. But
Right.
she's like, we're going to render our own. And I went, this is my bitch.
There we go.
This is how we're going to do it right here.
Yeah.
I will say up front, I am not a beans guy. I'll generally eat all the Mexican restaurants that I'll attend. It's usually on the side. I'll eat it, but it's never anything special. It's like there's beans and there's rice, and then usually it's your main. It's like a salad to me. It's like it's there, but there's nothing unique or special about it. I made these beans.
Yeah.
And it was off the charts. It reminded me of like cooking, like Gordon Ramsay's, some of his soups. They're so simple, and they taste fucking amazeballs.
Right.
This recipe of this lady that I followed, it was beyond beans, pork belly, onions, garlic, and I did not add salt.
Oh, really?
It was all from the pork belly.
It seems like the pork belly should have enough salt in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did uncured, but mine was, so I think that's where it made up for. Obviously, it was already salted.
Yeah.
That pan of beans, and it took about 2.5 hours because the beans had to be hydrated. It was absolutely fucking amazing.
They were very, very.
I
I actually still have a little bit left.
Do you? I
Just
have
a little
I
bit
have
in.
one for one burrito, and I'm not a guy like when I'll get a taco or a burrito, I'm getting carne asada or a steak
Right.
or ground beef. prefer not to have beans because there's never been anything special about beans. I bowled up 2 things to send to you because I'm like, seriously, you need to try this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm sure your Mexican culinary lore is a lot deeper than mine. So I was like, I have no idea. But to me, this was off the charts.
Yeah, those are very good.
I was not a bean guy.
Yeah.
And I put together, I was eating it like a dip. I was eating fucking chips and dip, and then I got to stop now.
Yeah. They were very, very tasty, but man, they were heavy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I ate, I think it was yesterday I made a tostada and I ate it. And after I ate it, I was like, oh, gosh.
Yeah. Little goes a long, like oatmeal. Little goes a long way.
I'm full.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a whole burrito.
I made, well, shit. Yeah.
I didn't have any tortillas, so I couldn't do that.
I made just a bean and cheese burrito. So I had the bag Mexican shredded cheese.
Yeah.
So it's the Jack and cheddar.
Yeah.
And then we had, what did we make a couple days back? Well, I still have like half a wheel of the Cojita.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Mexican cheese. So I put that in like a little Tupperware thing that I mix with Mexican. I had a simple bean and cheese burrito, and it blew me away. Fucking blew me away. Like, wow. I have been missing out on this. And it's weird too, because now it's like I told Venus and Piper, because Piper the next day was like, why didn't I get a burrito? I'm like, fucking, I'll make you a burrito. And I'm grilling them on the barbecue. So now like the tortillas are extra crispy. Oh, someone come out here because I said burrito. They're fucking amazing. Now the bar is set. Now if I go to a Mexican restaurant, I'd be like, now I'm like the Bloody Mary or salsa thing where I'm like judging. Like,
there was
one
Mexican restaurant that was in town. I don't think it's not there anymore. It changed into somebody else. It was called El Parian. It was over off of Fairway or something, across from Home Depot.
Yeah.
El Parian, and they had, as far as I'm concerned, the best refried beans out of any Mexican restaurant I've ever been to. The flavor was insane. The problem was they weren't vegetarian, so I couldn't go there with my wife and daughter. I'd have to go there by myself.
I'd be curious. What did they? Do you know what they use instead of lard?
I don't know. I have no. I think it's just lard. You know what I mean? I think that was the main thing that they use lard.
Yeah.
Which doesn't fly for the vegetarian.
Right.
Folks.
That's what I'm saying. No, like what does a vegetarian bean use in substitute of animal?
I don't know, because we
lard.
buy vegetarian refried beans like in a can.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, and they're almost just as good. I mean, they're very close to the regular refried beans.
Yeah.
As far as the flavor. So I don't know. I don't know what they put in them.
Yeah, take a spoonful of my beans and then dip into a can. And I went, I'm not using anything else in this can.
That's night and day.
And now I'm like trying to figure out how I'm going to make more beans every week.
Well, I have to admit, at Christmas time, we were considering doing tamales. We ended up doing a couple trays of enchiladas, but I really wanted to do something like tamales, because like get everybody in the kitchen and we'll make tamales together, kind of thing. And I found a video of a Mexican lady who makes tamales. It's a family recipe, and I was like, this is the kind of shit I want. This is what I want to do.
Right.
And the amount of work that woman put into making tamales, I just went, I don't have it in me.
Don't have that.
I don't have I don't have that in me for right now to do that much work to make tamales. Maybe at some point I will. The other part of it was I've never made them before.
Right.
And I'm not going to start doing this on Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like just fuck up Christmas dinner with some tamales that like are garbage or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it was too, is that her base was lard. for the
No, so you calf off 50% of the household.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, so at what point do we have to do 2 batches? One is a vegetarian batch,
Right.
and then how do you make those? And one is the regular batch, and I have that recipe. But also, you know, like, I don't need that many tamales.
Yeah.
It's only 4 of us.
They'd almost start with, like, probably trying to. I think I've looked at it before. Like, I would start with like making a red sauce, and probably like if I could find a red sauce that I was really comfy with, like, this is the taste, I would probably fake the enchilada part. As long as I got to use my red sauce, and then if there was time, now we're dipping in. But you have a unique.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never even looked at tamales.
I don't remember.
We
think
just buy them for fundraisers.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember I think it had a sauce also. Like she made a sauce, but it was the tamale and the fillings and the whole nine. Like the whole process of making the tamale, the corn, the masa, and that whole process was really like long. The way that she's got a big bowl, she puts the lard in the bowl, and she starts whipping it with her hand. I'm not kidding. For like 45 minutes, she's whipping shit in just with her hand in there, just whipping it.
Yeah.
Just trying
You're
to
like,
get
honey, usually that's 2 minutes max for me.
Well, trying
it's
to get
like,
it to a specific air consistency, like how much air is whipped into the and then one of the ways that she tested whether or not it was correct was to take a little piece of it and drop it into a glass of water, and if it floats, it's good.
Oh.
So she would drop it in, it would start sinking up, and then she'd just keep whipping.
Wow.
And you're just like, damn. And it was like, okay, I bet you, and especially from the comments I read on the video, these are probably some of the most delicious
probably
tamales you could ever get your face on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm not doing this right now because
commitment is.
It is a commitment, and I told my wife, I'm like, it's
I want
too.
To, but
I do we want to spend the entire day making tamales?
Yeah.
Because I don't, and then maybe they turn out or not. I don't know. Plus, I don't know how to do the same sort of thing in a vegetarian situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, I struggle with that all the time because I mean, as a meatosaurus, I love brisket, tri-tip, burgers. We can do burgers. The stuff like lasagna, like homemade lasagna. Well, I can do that now with Impossible meats and stuff like that. I can make 2 trays. Some of that stuff is starting to become a reality, but like if I make a brisket, those things are huge.
Yeah.
I can't eat the whole damn brisket.
Yeah.
Chandler and I can't eat the whole brisket. The girls aren't going to partake in that
at all. Right.
Even if I have a bunch of people like my family over at the house for 4th of July, they're not going to eat that much brisket. I'm going to have a ton of brisket left over.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes it's like as much as I want to, I'm held back because I feel like it's just sort of.
Let me ask you this: as someone in my household who doesn't have vegans as primary diet sourcers, do Shan and Melly,
not vegan, vegetarian,
vegetarians, do they have any sort of like do they culinary exploration, like, I want to make something like this vegan sized? Are they in the kitchen coming up with stuff like alternates, or is it generally you? They
do a lot of research, and like, I'll get like, we want to make this. In fact, last night we went golfing, and so Chandler and I and his friend went and grabbed dinner on the way home because we were getting home kind of late-ish. When we got home, they were in the kitchen making like a bean recipe not similar to refried beans, but a kind of a similar thing.
Okay.
And they made tostadas with them. So this was like, I think they ran across this recipe on TikTok.
Oh, cool.
Totally vegetarian. Shan gave me it was absolutely delicious.
Cool.
It was spicy. The spice level was point on. The flavor was delicious, and I was kind of like, damn, I kind of wish I was having that.
Right.
There are times where that happens.
Yeah. So they're in there too.
They do.
Dabbling.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
They just have less choice
Right.
of what items they can start with as a protein.
Mm.
You know, chickenless chicken nuggets.
Right.
You know, the Impossible and like the Beyond stuff has really changed kind of their game.
Right. What options they have
Yeah,
they can work with.
When we do burgers at home, we'll do, typically Chandler and I will do turkey burgers. They will do Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm grilling Impossible right along with, you know, if we're doing beef or whatever it is, typically turkey, I'm grilling that stuff alongside it. So those kind of things we can all kind of share in, but it's really hard when you have a main dish that's a beef thing.
Right. Yeah.
To like, what do you, if I do this, we're making 2 dinners now.
Right.
You know, it's it's difficult.
Yeah. We had, speaking of simple dishes and the beans, we, over the weekend, we had, Ian from brother-in-law, he had extra cod, and so we went on my dad's birthday. We went over to his place, and he had like a fish fry. And he's got like a small fryer, and he was essentially frying for a good 2 hours because people were. It was just like get it as it comes out kind of thing.
Right.
Such a simple thing.
Yeah.
I hadn't realized, like, because when we were over in the UK, a lot of like the things that were, like I was dabbling in was like bangers and mash.
Fish and chips.
Yeah, but we didn't get a lot of fish and chips because it was like bangers and mash. Their sausage is just different than ours. It's bangers, mash, and peas, and the gravy and having gravy on it. It was like you almost want to try this in every place to see how everyone's doing the bangers and mashed peas.
What's the variation?
But there is something about like a good fish with a very simple batter. And while he didn't have malt vinegar, he did his own, like, you know, raw home fries, not from a bag.
Yeah.
So he cut up the potatoes himself. I think he made his own tartar sauce.
Nice.
And we had like a homemade coleslaw. Which spun off a whole conversation about how Venus's homemade coleslaw, she's got her own recipe that if I ever did like a food truck that was like comfort food, Venus's coleslaw is like on the menu.
Nice.
It's fucking amazeballs. And Ian was talking about how his had used honey as a sweetener, and Venus says what you need to use is pineapple juice. Because pineapple juice affords like the tartness, but yet the sweetness. Absolutely amazing. If you were looking for like I don't know where her recipe is. I'm not going to say it because I would probably throw her under the bus.
You'll get in trouble.
I get in trouble again. And I probably already blew it because I said pineapple juice. But I'm just saying, if you have not,
I'm Googling it right now.
If you're in the circle of homies and you like coleslaw, ask my wife to make you her coleslaw. And if you are truly an official, you'll always want it. It'll be the thing you ask her to make for you.
I won't be asking because I can't stand coleslaw.
You fucking owe me a sandwich and dip. Man, when you deliver to me, my wife will make you the coleslaw.
No, I don't like coleslaw.
Oh.
No,
it's vegetarian. Your wife and daughter will probably love it.
You
put it on like a burger, like a southern smash. Oh, fuck.
I mean, you know what? If it's on something, that's probably fine.
Like an island-style burger?
Well, if you
teriyaki.
Someone, you know, what is coleslaw? Coleslaw is served with like what, barbecue or whatever.
Yeah, like
on the side, and it's just boring.
Oh, not this.
This isn't a challenge necessarily.
This is like a 20-person party in your mouth.
Now I'm kind of worried that I'm going to have to eat coleslaw, and I don't know.
Is it like a taste thing? Or you just don't like it as a side?
I don't know. It's just never grabbed my attention as far as the flavor and.
Because I think it's like restaurant beans. They're just like there. In most cases, they're just like there.
I agree with that.
I can't remember if we've talked about this or not. It's one of those things like when I go to like a southern restaurant like Lucille's.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know. Did they make it through this?
I believe they did.
Did they?
I think I still get emails from them.
When we spent time in Charlotte, and like when I go to a southern restaurant, that's one of like the limiters for me. It's like I'm gonna get your coleslaw to see how authentic.
Are you real or not?
Right.
Okay.
I have never had a coleslaw that is as good as my wife's.
Oh,
And it's a recent thing. I think she came up with it when we were. It might be 2 to 4 years old at this point when we did like a cut out all processed sugar diet, and she found the recipe that didn't use it.
I mean, I make my own coleslaw, but it's got a can of whoop ass in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to trying it. I'll go places and taste the coleslaw. If it's unappealing, I just won't eat it.
I think because
I would give it a whirl.
You're probably
Yeah.
not an outlier there. I think most people, it's like a salad, and it's probably came from a bag anyway. It's like there's nothing
That's true.
special here.
Yeah. Well, with what? Some sort of like watered down mayonnaise. I don't know.
Right,
what-
right, and it's
what-
probably got a ton of fucking sugar in it.
Yeah.
It's
It's just one of those things that's never been that exciting. I would rather eat corn. You know what I mean? Or I
Yeah.
don't know, almost anything else.
Man, have you done like making like a Mexican street corn?
Yeah. Actually, we have.
That's where we started doing like keeping the cojita cheese.
Oh, okay.
Like, ooh, fucking street corn.
Trader Joe's has a seasoning.
Yes.
Everything but the elote or whatever.
Elote.
Elote or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah. And we have that.
Yes.
And it's pretty tasty.
Fuck
Yeah.
yes.
And in fact, sometimes we'll do like side of corn and just kind of, like
Yeah.
corn kernels.
If you haven't tried, it'll work on if you boil the corn, but it's even better if you like roast it on the barbecue inside the husk. If you then drizzle some Frank's buffalo hot sauce on it,
Oh.
and especially if you've buttered it,
Uh-huh.
it is chef's kiss. Fucking
mean,
amazeballs.
I love-
Try that.
Yeah, I love grilled corn on the cob. That's just, man, I just love that.
It's the tasty.
Mm.
The corn, yeah. So like the cojita cheese, the everything but elote
Yeah.
spice, and then because I think one might have been last year, we did like so these ones we're doing with the buffalo
Oh, okay.
hot sauce,
Yeah.
and these ones we did the cojita cheese, and then the other ones we put the spice on it.
Uh-huh.
But it's like.
Yeah.
Fuck. I can't remember what we did too with the Frank's hot sauce, and we were like, "Why have we not been doing this before?"
Really?
Oh, put it in mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, how have I not been doing this shit?
with some blue cheese.
Yeah, but the Frank's hot sauce on an ear, especially if it's roasted on a barbecue, an ear of corn. Try it.
I would have never even thought to try
it.
Okay.
You don't even have to smoke it.
Is it Frank's Red Hot Sauce? We always have
the
this.
buffalo?
No, I know. We
Oh.
always joke because originally when it came out, it was called Frank's Red Hot Sauce.
Oh yeah.
And it's sort of changed over time to like Frank's. It's Frank's Hot Sauce or Frank's Red Hot Sauce.
Because they've got variants.
Yeah, and then it's buffalo and whatever.
Yeah.
So Chandler will say Frank's Buffalo Sauce or something. And I'm like, oh, you mean Frank's Red Hot Sauce?
Oh yeah, Frank's
Frank's.
red hot sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
We're at time?
we're at time.
Jeez. I mean, I didn't even get to any of my notes.
What was one? Do you have a quickie one?
I killed a rat over the weekend.
Is that a euphemism for a poop?
No, that happens almost daily.
Hey.
But a rat. Yeah. I mean, why? Why?
Where there's one,
I know.
I don't know what the rule is, but I'm sure it's probably double digits.
Yeah, it was one of those things where we had she has a cool like little planter thing with a bunch of like these cans that have like flowers growing in them.
Oh,
And
okay.
that she made a out of a pallet. She made a little planter thing,
Okay.
and the little cans sit in there, and then she comes out and it's like, where'd my plants all go? And they're getting eaten by the rats.
Ate the plants?
Yeah, they're eating the plants out of they're literally ripping them out of the things. And like literally, like the plants are gone. They just take them
Wow.
or eat them or whatever. And so this is not the first time.
Yeah.
I think this is about the 6th.
I thought when you said you had rats, I was worried that they had eaten like the wires for your lights that you just put up.
You
And
know,
I was like, fucking, I would be pissed.
They haven't done that yet, but Shanna looked out back at one point and saw the lights moving.
hell
and
no.
Yeah. So like immediately I'm like, fuck, I'm fucking setting traps. This is bullshit. I just made that shit and they're already climbing on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder how they do with like capsaicin. Could you like rub hot pepper capsaicin stuff on the wires and maybe that would keep them? I don't know anything. We have the bait to kill them.
Rub my ass crack on it. Maybe that'll keep them away.
Oh, they're like, this is just like home. I love this.
Wait, this is in there? I got to get in there.
Yeah, right in. Where is
the
this
house,
at? Do we
yeah.
got to get inside the house?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh,
That
this
lives in
happens
there?
at every 9:30.
Fucking rats. Anyway, that's all I got. That was quick.
I got some of mine.
Okay.
Yeah. And next week, we'll probably end up talking about pork belly.
Yeah.
Because I saw that. That's like a Cantonese thing. I
Pork
looked up.
belly?
Like doing it that way,
Oh.
super crispy on the top. That
Oh, that thing. This thing I sent you?
Doing the pork belly that turns the skin almost into a pork
How do you
rind.
make that? Is it fried? You just fry it in a pan or something? Because
N-
he doesn't show how it's made. He just
no,
shows
it's typically it's roasted,
Uh-huh.
and you're salting or drying out the top, and then it really depends because you can do it in an air fryer, but most it's like almost a 2-step thing where you roast it, and then once the meat is done, you do like a kiss under like a broiler
Uh-huh.
for a certain amount of
For the
time,
crisp.
and that crisps up the top
Ah.
and the but
So
yeah,
wait, did you already know how to do this?
yes.
Oh, you have seen
I didn't know
this.
you could do it in an air fryer, and usually the slab is too big to do in an air fryer.
Well, 'cause
but I've roasted it.
like
yes,
the TikTok I sent you just shows the guy eating it. So I'm like, how the fuck does it get like that?
right. Yeah, you'll usually because it's an Asian. Usually it's rubbed with like a 5-spice. You can do barbecue.
Yeah, you can do
but
anything you
the
want.
the original exception is like it's a Polynesian Asian thing,
Okay.
and you rub it. It'll sit like almost dry age for roughly 12 to 24 hours in your fridge, like salted.
Uh-huh.
The skin is salted because you want to pull out the moisture of the skin
Okay. So it can crisp up.
so it can crisp up.
Yeah.
And then typically you'll foil it
Uh-huh.
and then you roast it for, whatever, 30, 40 minutes.
So I would imagine that probably renders a bunch of fat right out of it.
Not as much as you would think,
No?
but yes,
Yeah.
it does. And then you can like defoil the sides, and because it's the whole time you leave the top, the skin essentially exposed, and that will harden and crisp up. And then depending on how much more crisp you want it, usually you'll turn your broiler on, and it'll go nuts. It'll turn into essentially a pork rind.
Well,
And that's how you get what he did, like
yeah.
you're cutting through pork rinds, and then you have moist
Bacon.
pork, bacon, and meat underneath it. It's fucking unreal.
I want to make this.
It's not hard. It's just there's a time sink in the dehydrating in the fridge.
All right. Now I have to look. Do you have a recipe you can point me at? Because
I could yeah.
yeah. I want to.
Yeah.
I have because now I got to look.
Well, and the thing is,
I didn't know you knew this much about it.
Yeah, and typically you won't.
The fuck?
You may not find it at the store because it's.
Are you hiding things from me?
I have, yeah. Fucking your sandwich and my dip. See, we trade.
Stop.
That's why I sent that thing. You sent it to me last night at fucking midnight.
Oh, hell
I'm
yeah.
trying to go to bed.
I'm TikToking.
Not really. I'm watching
uh,
train cars and people crashing into fuckers. And you're like, I need this.
How do we make this?
Yes.
And then you just tell me, God damn it, it's midnight. I'm like, but how do I make it?
How do we get this in my belly?
How do I get to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may have to go to Roseville Meat Market to get
yeah.
pork belly.
I've bought pork belly before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, where?
Probably at Rayleigh's or Bel Air or something. It was a while ago, but
Was it?
Yeah,
I'll look the next time, just because it's not hard.
yeah. That's
It's
what she
just
said.
it's just usually grocery stores won't keep.
The low volume things.
Yeah, because it's kind of a specialty. But if ours even has like lamb, now that they're carrying lamb and shit,
I mean,
they probably
if I gotta go to Roseville Meat Market, that just sucks.
you have our bid. Buy some alligator. We'll do that too.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't sound good. Have you had it?
No,
That just doesn't.
it probably tastes like chicken.
probably tastes angry. Yeah.
Anyway,
It tastes angry. All right.
so
Don't-
before you prepare your food, be sure to wash your hands.
And also wash your ass.
Wear the mask
Return the cart.
and get the shot.
Get the shot.
Please get the shot. Everybody will thank you.
Yes.
Trust me.
Even us.
New CDC guidelines. So if you're getting vaccinated or thinking about doing stuff, you could probably do extra things if you've been paying close attention and doing the needfuls.
You can't get back to normal if we don't get
Right.
this going.
And then people like me will have to continue to wear masks outside because I can't trust that you didn't do the needful.
And we
just
know Tucker.
pay attention.
Is his name Tucker Carlson?
Carlson.
We know Tucker Carlson doesn't want anybody wearing masks.
Yeah, because dipshit.
Anyway,
Anyway, we'll catch you next week.
thanks for listening, everybody.
All right, bye.
Bye.